Hello, my name is Barbara Astra and I am Jack Mays' niece. Obviously I've known him since I was born, and by coincidence we'd looked up something yesterday and he actually died 14 years ago on the 16th of June. And we are now in June, and so this is a tribute to him. If I was going to describe Jack, he was the cheeky chappy, very much like Delboy, full of life.
Jack was born in Dagenham, so he was a little bit of an East. He used to think of himself as an East End boy, and he used to think if he was going to be an entertainer, he would have liked to have been Max Bygraves.
He used to do charities for the Magic Circle. He used to do charities for the Water Rats, Granddaughter of Water Rats, raised money for all sorts of different things. He raised money for the Pear Tree School when he made a record with them. So yes, he was a lovable character, can you put it that way?
Jack was quite charismatic, but as well as being an entertainer, he was also a good businessman. So he actually set up a magic agency because he was so popular that he had more work that he could do. So he used to give work to lots of other magicians, children's entertainers.
He used to get things done, but in his own way. He was a character. There was only one Jack Mays. Harry? I've known him since he was born, or should I say his little brother was born. Jack had a little one before he had Harry.
Jack had a little puppet. They were made by Pelham puppets, and it looked identical to Harry, only it was only this big rather than this big. And he was on stage, and one of the top performers saw him in Jersey, and after the show said to him, "Your act is really good, especially the vent act, except that the puppet is too small for a big theatre." And he said, "Could you not get a bigger puppet?" Jack got in touch with Pelham Puppets and arranged for them to make a boy-sized Harry. And from then on, Jack went out with Harry this big, or even that big. And from then on, he was the top children's entertainer probably in the country. Generally became known as the almost famous Jack Mays.
No puppet is worth anything without its master, without its person who uses it. The person who uses it gives it the voice, the character. You imagine several other puppets without the people who actually perform with them, they wouldn't be the same.
Well, everybody knew Jack and everybody knew Harry. When we first came over in 1976 to have a look at houses, Jack drove me to one or two places, and the number of times that he stopped the car and chatted to somebody in another car going the other way in the middle of Stevenage. You couldn't do it nowadays, but in 1976, perhaps there was a little bit less traffic then. But people were stopping him, so they even recognised his car. Harry was so popular. If I just explain that when you do a magic show and you've got a puppet, so Jack Mays had Harry, the children generally will remember the name of the puppet not necessarily remember the name of the magician. So when the mums ring up, they say, oh, we want Hairy Harry for the party. And they would know, oh, right, that's going to be Jack Mays and Hairy Harry. And Jack would say, oh, dear, I'm very sorry, I'm not available on that day. The mum would say, can you do the next day? Oh, I can't do the next day, I'm busy that day. I can do the following week. Oh, well, if you can't do it, can we just have Hairy Harry on his own?
Hairy Harry had his own room. Jack had a room for Hairy Harry and all his props. That's as much as I can tell you. It's a secret. When Jack learned there was going to be a theatre in Stevenage, he was very pleased because there wasn't anything like it around the area. Obviously, he knew that he would get to work there, but I do know that he helped the design of the theatre. Saturday morning at the Golden Craig Theatre was sometimes chaos. Jack would come in with Hairy Harry. We'd have 400 or 500 children in the audience, which was noisy. He'd come in, he'd do his catchphrase.
He would say something, the children would react, and he would really get the audience ready for when he introduced today's top magician who would come on and do their act, and they've got an audience that's ready.
He'd introduce the acts that came on in the mornings, or he would do the whole show. Half Hairy Harry, half magic, half getting the children up to do their bits and pieces to help him. But yes, Hairy Harry took part in all the Saturday morning shows. That's why a lot of people in Stevenage got to know him. Yes, I've known Hairy Harry. He's nearly 50 years old, so I've known him a very long time, and I've had him in my house to redress him for Father Christmas and other costumes that Jack's wanted it for him. And yes, he's been a puppet that I've known, as I say, loved for a good few years. Although it's rather strange having a almost 4-year-old sized puppet sitting on your settee, and when you come down in the morning, you sort of take a step back because he does have rather funny hair, and sitting there wide-eyed, and you think to yourself, never mind.
A dragon lives forever, but not so little boy. Painted wings and giant rings make way for other toys. One great night it happened, Jackie Paper came no more, and puffed that mighty dragon, he ceased his fearless roar.
Hairy Harry is in negotiations with somebody. I'm not going to tell you who because it's a secret at the moment, but he will be going somewhere else.
Watch this space.
Watch this space.
Thank you.
His head was bent in sorrow, green scales fell like rain. Puck no longer went to play along the cherry lane without his lifelong friend. Puck could not